We're pleased to be joined by the festival founder and the producer of the Soaring Eagle Arts, Beats, and Eats Festival in Royal Oak. Jon Witz joins us now on the MegaCast. Jon, thanks for being with us today.
Thanks a lot, Tyler. Glad to be here, and hello, Erica.
Appreciate having you on. So for those that are not familiar or this is kind of popping up on them like, oh, that's right, Arts, Beats, and Eats is back. When is the festival this year?
Yeah, it's coming up 3 weeks from tomorrow, September 3rd through 6th, and interesting times, but we are glad to be back, and looking forward to bringing some semblance of life back, and we're excited about it. We got a great show.
So last year the event didn't go on as planned, but a different event did go on in its place. The Beats go on with some virtual events. How did that go, and then how did that experience inform your plans and your team's plans for this year's festival?
Sure. So it was really a big success. We rallied local musicians. They did virtual fundraisers on their own. We did drive-in concerts live. We got a grant from Oakland County to match up to $500,000 raised. We only hit $215,000, but that still matched $215,000, so we got $430,000 in the hands of local musicians last year who really were not performing at all. We also did a art fair by appointment with only 50 people at a time, and the artists actually did over 40,000 in sales, and that was successful at the Royal Oak Farmers Market outdoors. And then we sent food trucks to local neighborhoods. So I think that was a great way to express, our festival and some spirit in a tough year last year. And that work last year really had no bearing on this year. We've been following, the state and CDC guidelines, and I know there are concerns now, but events are not restricted, and we are, hosting our event at its normal scope and capacity this year.
So with the event being back in person this year, there's a lot of new things, and I know one of the new things being implemented is that you are no longer going to be having a ticket system required for vouchers that you exchange for concessions. I'm referencing this article from the Detroit Free Press that recently came out where you talked a little bit about that, but it seems like that system was disliked by many fest goers. So can you talk to us a little bit about what that did look like, how it's changing, and why this decision was made?
Sure. Yeah, it is a big move for us, and we did have some complaints about it. It served an important purpose for us. It helped, monitor the sales of our vendors. It took cash off the site from a security standpoint, where it was only, at 10 or 12 locations versus, at all the booths. And a lot of the restaurants liked it because it was easier for them to not worry about cash handling, et cetera. So there were a lot of reasons why we had the plan in place, but we did get feedback that it wasn't liked, and we are trying it for this year to see if the operations, logistics, and financial success can meet the benefits to the consumer, and we hope that it does. And it also, in a year where COVID is still out there, it does, take a lot of touch points away as well. So there's a safety and a customer service element, and we're excited, and people are excited that we're not doing it. But I just want to let folks know we didn't, just have it out there to have it out there and frustrate you. There were, when you're managing an event of this size, having things organized that way is, was helpful to us, but we're excited to deliver this for the consumer this year.
We're joined by Jon Witz, the festival founder and producer of the Soaring Eagle Arts, Beats, and Eats Festival in Royal Oak. And Jon, on top of the discontinuation of the ticket system and a change to an all-mobile system at this year's festival, what are some of the other changes that have been made as you've had now 2 years since the previous in-person festival to plan for this situation, given the situation with COVID-19 and that informing kind of the future of this event? What other changes can the public expect when they attend this festival in September?
Well, let me just start with a couple programming things, and then we can touch on some of the safety elements. On the programming side, we really went for it on the music. We have increased our budget and on national bands, and we brought in Stone Temple Pilots. We're about to announce a big one later today or tomorrow that's being added to Sunday. We have the Neon Trees this year, Gin Blossoms, Bobby Brown, Justin Moore. I think people will really see, a step up from a music standpoint. Our music fans will love it. Flagstar Bank has really upped the game for culture on 4th. They have donated exhibit space to BIPOC restaurants and artists. So we'll have a really beautiful, colorful, cultural presentation with international music, art, and food on 4th between Maine and Lafayette. We moved our R&B stage to the north, which is a new change, and we've added the House of Dank lounge, and they are bringing in, DJs, dueling pianos, all sorts of interactive activities and games at 6th and Center. So that's something we're, excited about from a programming standpoint. On the safety side, we're in touch with health officials, and one of the things, we're not just doing increased, cleanup and sanitation, but we're going to have ambassadors, reminding, parents about hand sanitizing after each, children's activity use, because children are the group that, remain, under 12, cannot get vaccinated. So, that is a safety thing. We are considering some issues in our main stage. We're going to monitor, what other concert venues are doing, as well as, how the data comes in, over the next week or two. But you could see, vaccination requirements or proof of testing just to get into the main stage area. That's something I would monitor. Backstage at the festival, you have to be vaccinated or have proof of a negative test in dealing with national music. And the other thing we'll use, and I will do it right now, is we will use the opportunity when we do get the chance, on your show and in general with interviews to mention how important vaccinations are. I mean, we would not be doing an event, of this magnitude, and we would not be open if, not more than 70% of people in Oakland County have been vaccinated. And it really opens the door for, getting our life back. The vaccine is proved effective. There's science and data behind it. I know it's not everybody's choice, but we will mention that wherever we can. We'll encourage people to take care of themselves and be safe. And then lastly, something that's new is we will have a vaccination clinic on site during the festival that is sponsored by Oakland County. So there will not be any restrictions or proof of vaccine or negative test to get into the event. We'll suggest mask wearing with signage if you're not vaccinated, but we're not requiring anything to get in.
We're joined by Jon Witz. He is the festival founder and producer of the Soaring Eagle Arts, Beats, and Eats Festival, which will take place in Royal Oak on Labor Day weekend, September 3rd through September 6th of this year. Coming up in just a few weeks. And obviously, when you're putting together a festival of this size and of this magnitude that people flock to each and every year, partnership is key in making this go on year in and year out, whether we're in a pandemic or outside of a pandemic. And given the situation last year, how important was partnership with Oakland County, with the city of Royal Oak, and with other sponsors to not only navigate that situation, given that we were not able to have an in-person festival, given that a lot of these artists, this is one of their biggest shows of the year and where they get a lot of their revenue and make their living, and given the situation with what's still going on with COVID-19, how important were those partnerships to not only keep the festival going in 2021, but also to support those artists and to support those vendors who were unable to get that influx of business in 2020 during one of the toughest periods for businesses and independent artists ever?
Without question, it's so important. Public-private partnerships, community partnerships are everything to us. We've gotten some grant support from the county. We're using City of Royal Oak grant dollars this year to make restaurant booth spaces in downtown Royal Oak more affordable because of labor shortages, so folks can pay, labor larger dollars. We had our supports of some of our top sponsors. The Beats Go On program that you mentioned allowed us to get some revenue into the company through sponsorship and keep our staff and folks working. These relationships that you talked about with the county and the city are everything to us, and we try and use them for public good wherever we can. We'll have 60 nonprofits tied into the event this year. They'll be selling beverages to getting a portion. We have a program for children with autism, where we'll have, over the weekend, 2,000 kids and family members enjoying free lunch, admission, carnival rides and parking. So we'll continue to collaborate. And the other aspect is the safety aspect. So, for example, because of our relationship with Oakland County, I will have phone calls with their head of Department of Health, and we'll monitor statistics and state guidelines and just make sure that we're compliant and doing the right thing and give people the choice. And hopefully, again, that choice is to take care of themselves and get vaccinated, because again, that's why we're here. So I hope that answers your question, but they're everything to us.
So I know you recently referred to this year's lineup of artists as the biggest one you've had, very big names headlining the event this year. Talk to me a little bit about the process of getting such big names this year and why that was so important.
Well, I think it was important coming out of the pandemic. Our initial thought was, okay, hold back on the money. People are going to want to come out anyway. That everyone just wants something to do and be outside. And we thought we needed to emerge, and make a splash. So our philosophy on things kind of changed, from a conservative approach on programming, to going for it. And I think the music can really define things. And as far as how we got them, I mean, it was just, it's always research, and it's really tricky for a festival like ours to compete with the Michigan Lottery Theaters, which is formerly Freedom Hill, or DT Energy, or Meadowbrook, and Aretha Franklin. It is not, was Shane Park. I mean, it is not easy to operate in that space and get national acts, even though some of ours aren't as big as those venues. Everyone was looking to book music. So, it's just working hard research. And again, at the end of the day, it's spending a little bit more money. We invested more dollars to get deals done, that we thought we needed to do. And one other interesting thing about the music process is, before we knew we were allowed to open, we did book 4 or 5 bands, with COVID clauses. There's still COVID clauses in all of our contracts, but, we did get ahead of the game, and we were booking in April and May as the vaccine was rolling out, before the governor opened things up. So we got a little bit of a jump start too. So I hope that answers that one as well.
We're joined by Jon Witz, festival founder and producer of the Soaring Eagle Arts Beats and Eats Festival in Royal Oak. And so much goes into planning an event like this, to executing an event like this, but it's also an expensive event to produce as well, for the vendors, for, of course, the planners of this event. And in a situation like last year, where COVID-19 was making everybody's purse strings so much tighter, how important was grant money? It was money that was provided by the city of Royal Oak and Oakland County in order to continue this event on in 2021 and create a situation where we were able to bring some very, very high profile headlining artists back, particularly on the music side, but also all across the board, to Arts Beats and Eats.
So in 2020, the grant money was not as significant. It was really more of a contract with the city that we were allowed to keep a portion of the sponsorship fee, because things were, I'm getting into the weeds a little bit, but it wasn't as much a grant money as it was just a fairness that we had begun planning the event. And with the county, there was some grant money as well, but there were a lot of partners. You mentioned Soaring Eagle, Flagstar Bank, Imperial Beverage. A lot of folks, provided part of Priority Health is another one, provided part of their sponsorship, which allowed us not only to do the Beats Go On, but keep the company intact. As far as 2021, a lot of our sponsors have come back strong with us, and the county just approved some grant money for us, which is critical, and the city just matched it. So, the money from the city of Royal Oak is actually being reinvested into downtown businesses. The Royal Oak Downtown Development Authority is going to be announcing a retail dollar program coming up next week. And the grant money we've received will provide ambassadors to promote folks visiting downtown businesses. Again, public-private partnership is critical, to our success, and we just try and make the most positive impact we can with the dollars that we do. And dialing that back into Erica's question, we've invested those dollars into our programming and our music, and we're ready to give everyone a great show this year.
Jon Witz with us on the MegaCast. He is the festival founder and producer of the Soaring Eagle Arts, Beats, and Eats Festival, coming up in Royal Oak on September 3rd through September 6th, Labor Day weekend. Jon, just another minute with you before we'll say goodbye today. Anything else that would be important or interesting for our audience to know about Arts, Beats, and Eats?
Well, I would just tell you that so many small businesses, as you have alluded to, Tyler, have really ramped up and have not had the opportunity to sell their art or perform, and they've been rehearsing. They've been creating artwork. We have artists not only from Michigan but from around the country. There will be such a great taste of culture and humanity out here. And I think that, and again, same, we've had so many restaurants from, the Crispelli's and Luigi's and La Feast and Beans and Cornbread. There's just such variety. And all of these restaurants work so hard to get teams together to put on this show. So I would just say people are going to really get a taste of life, and take care of yourself, make your own choices related to health, wear a mask if you're comfortable, and we will be ready to show everyone a nice time.